of the ITA, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our first in the pilot series for the ITA Member Showcase. What we've created is a pilot program, and this came out of survey results where people felt like they didn't really always understand what all of our alliance partner and alliance affinity partner vendors do and what their products are about. And all of those folks have at some point have had a chance to share what they do at some point in a meeting, but maybe not really again. So the theory was that we might start a webinar series where you guys can share things with each other and showcase your tools or solutions. And so we started with the newest ITA AP and APV members because they really haven't had a chance to showcase themselves in a collaborative meeting. So we selected the 6 new members, and then we are creating the 3-month pilot program where 2 of the members will present and talk about their product. We're going to have T-sheets and adaptive insights. So those are our next 3 months for the next 6 vendor members. Right now, I have now muted all of your phones. We will monitor the chat panel if you do have questions, but after each person's presentation. So Ascentium will present for 20 minutes, and then we'll open the floor up for questions. And then we're going to switch it over to Riva and open the floor up for questions, and then we will unmute your phones during that part. So I do want to introduce Stephen Interlicchio. He is our first presenter. Let me unmute you. I realized I shouldn't do that. And I'm going to make him the presenter, and he is going to share with you all things about Ascentium Capital.
Thank you, Lissa, and good afternoon, everyone, and thanks again for showing your support for ITA. Ascentium Capital is a privately held independent lender who specializes in designing revenue-generating programs for any type of technology providers. We're headquartered in Kingwood, Texas. We've been a member now of about 2 years with ITA. I have sat on many boards of software publishing companies. I've been doing this for about 32 years now, providing software programs for the top 10 software publishers in the United States. We're a AAA rated Moody's company. We are a $1.2 billion revenue company. We have over 200 salespeople and finance experts throughout the country in 26 different offices. We actually just won, we were in New York last week, we won the Best Business Lending Platform FinTech Award, which basically is, we're one of the top FinTech, financial technology lenders within the country, thanks to our portals for the customers and for the vendors to track their business. We were in March of this year, we just became the #1 independent lender in the United States. Our revenue growth year over year has been anywhere from 30 to 40% for the last 5 years. And mainly due to our penetration within the IT software platform. These are some of our metrics on what our customers are saying to us. 92% say they are satisfied with our quick finance quotes. Again, 91% are very satisfied with credit decisions. 97% indicate that our products meet their needs. Now that's both for the vendor reseller and for also the customer end user. What our objective is as a lender and to become a financial partner for software publishers and their products and their resellers is to increase within the same day. We will pre-fund prior to any implementation and product delivery. We will actually pre-fund you up to 3 years worth of implementation and annual subscriptions. In the case of perpetual licenses or 5-year SaaS models, we will actually go along and pre-fund up to 5 years. So what that does is, of course, your cash flow versus just collecting a monthly cloud revenue stream. We actually fund that stream all up front. The closing ratios, we find that when a reseller or a publisher offers a finance program within their proposals, it tends to move the needle and closing of the transactions up to 10 days. We've seen many competitive situations where your competitor will come in and on their sale proposal, either the publisher has their own finance company internally, or they've aligned themselves with another independent captive or bank, and on their proposal, the total revenue is broken down in monthly payments, which kind of makes the end user choose someone where they can feel they can make a monthly payment versus a annual payment or a quarterly payment up front. Again, some of our unique finance platforms benefits are we do 100% pre-funding. Everything we do is fintech. So our portal applications are done online. We do e-docs. We do nothing. We do not need any originals. We either do e-docs or fax the documents to the customer. We fund on a fax, and we can do same-day ACH. So at 9 o'clock in the morning, we can approve, and our general approval times are anywhere between 1 and 80 minutes, an hour and a half. So if we received an application in the morning, we could actually have the documents emailed to the customer. They can be e-docked back to us, so we can fund you by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, some of our competitive advantages. For some of the publishers, we do private label or co-branding. We do that with Intact, where Intact's logo is on our documents and on our credit application. And we can also do that for the reseller. If the reseller sells multiple lines, we can do our documents under the reseller's name. The Credit Plus program, again, in the IT space, we always know that a customer is always looking to either refresh hardware, add additional seats, or probably buy prepaid implementation. So if we receive a credit application in and the solution with implementation is $100,000, and we feel that the customer qualifies to up to $250,000, we'll issue an approval for the $250,000, even if the ask may be only $25,000. That gives you the opportunity to go back to the customer with a large credit line now and possibly upsell the customer today for something they may want to buy in the future. Or you can tell the customer that if there's any type of hardware refresh that they may need to implement this new software, we've already taken care of that. So we do a lot of upselling for you with that customer. We also go to trade shows and events. You've seen me at ITA. I've spoken at ITA. We always support our publishers and our resellers. If you have a national or large regional show, I'll send a representative to work within your booth to answer any type of finance questions. And actually, we can process applications and documentation from your booth. We provide marketing material at no cost to you, very professional marketing material. Our sales origination tools, that'll be in the later part of the presentation. What we do is we allow your sales reps or someone within your organization to have on their smartphones or on their desktop a portal where you could actually do finance proposals for the customer to make presentations to them. They could actually get their documents on the smartphone, or they can actually apply on the smartphone. So we try to bring the point of sale of our finance platform right to your salesperson's point of sale, so everything can be done at one time. This is a very simple process. We do everything through integration from the quote to approval. Again, we do iCalcs, which is a iCalc tool where your salesperson or your customer can actually go within the portal, put in a price, and actually see terms between 12 and 60 months to see what budget fits them their best. Up to $250,000, unlike most banks, traditional banks, we do not require any type of tax returns or financial statements. We do 100% financing. We finance taxes, sales, maintenance, installation, training. Anything that's actually on your invoice, we'll include that in the document. The customer doesn't have to make any payments down. We actually pay you up front, and then we bill the customer 30 days post-funding. Again, easy submission through eDocs. We don't require serial numbers if there's any hardware. We don't require a formal invoice. We can fund you from your quote. We don't do any verbal verifications or delivery and acceptances under $150,000. That's all built within our one-page document, so you get paid faster. These are some of the products that we finance, any type of hardware, software, let it be a perpetual license, SaaS, cloud, laptops, tablet, handhelds, maintenance, servers, and more. If it's an IT solution, we'll finance it. Generally, on our software transactions, we do them on installment payment agreements, which is basically a finance loan to the customer. We don't take any encumbrances or any type of right to the software license. We just actually take the position of the lender. So the invoice is still made out to the customer. They have title to it from day one. We just take the lien holder position. We also offer working capital loans to some of your customers that maybe need a payroll loan or something to bid on a contract that isn't underlining with any type of capital asset under it. We do offer working capital loans. Again, for our tier one vendors, which the majority of you are, we offer 100% pre-funding. We don't need commencement agreements. We don't need a delivery and acceptance, no verbal confirmation. And our document is literally one page. So it's very simple for your customers. These are some of the sales tools I was talking about earlier. These are what the smartphone quote tools look like. So if you're at the customer at the point of sale and the customer, you're giving them multiple different type of configurations. Generally in the past, you would have to call the lending company back and say, well, the loan, can you give me a quote for $100,000? Can you give me a quote for $125,000 if they don't want implementation or if they want to add more implementation? With this, there's no contact us. All the salesperson or someone within your office needs to do is just to change the amount, and it refreshes the whole proposal. So it's very simple. And then we have that little finance quote tool. If the customer agrees to that proposal, all they do is click that, fill in a credit application, it goes right into our credit facility, and within an hour, customer will get an on approval. We also offer what's called Ascentium. Ascentium.com is for the vendor portal. So what we allow you to do is to see all of your customers behind the scene. So there's no reason to call us here at Ascentium to say, how is High Sierra Limited doing? You'll be able to see in real time the status and the progress of your transaction as it goes through the different department and stages within Ascentium. So you'll know when a transaction's been submitted, you'll know when it's been approved, you'll know when documents went out, you'll know if it's been funded in real time. So this is a real great tool for a company that wants to keep an eye on their portfolio and also keep an eye on what's in your funnel. Again, these are some of the access to marketing materials that we allow you to have through our marketing. We do 3-color and 6-color printing for you at no cost. We'll support that in PDF, or we'll actually print it for you if you're going to a trade show. And again, I'm Senior Vice President here over at Ascentium, and I'm in charge of strategic services. I do have 101 salespeople under me and 7 sales managers. And we do have specialized reps that are specials just in software delivery and IT equipment. And that's about 18 minutes, and I left it open for a couple minutes of questions.
Unmuted.
Melissa?
This is Michelle. I have a question, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Say that we had a client that we wanted to use your services for. Who do we reach out to? Would we first contact you, or would we have a sales rep assigned?
No, you always can. From a vendor standpoint, any question you can deal with me. I'm the program manager, but under it, I'll assign a sales rep to your product line. Like I have a dedicated person who does Intact and Deltek. I have a dedicated person who does Sage. What I like to do is to have my sales reps to be experts in those particular softwares also. So they have familiarity on what the modules are. So what I'll do is once I get you as a reseller on board, I will assign. It may be me if I think it's something where I need to be involved with, but you'll be assigned a program manager directly.
Okay.
And again, it could be a soft sell. We have some resellers and partners who want to control everything, so we give them our application in PDF. They send it to the customer with our contact, or you can just email your program manager and say, "Hi, Bridget, we have a new lead. Here's a copy of their proposal. Please give them a call," and we can do it that way too.
Okay, and another question would be, is this just specific to us as the partner, or I do software development now, but I'm also a CPA.
With the Intact program, any type of software publishing that's delivered by CPAs, we get calls from the CPA and say, "Listen, my client is getting office furniture. Can you help him on his project? His bank doesn't want to do it," or that's another value added that we bring to you, especially if you're a consultant. We could actually do whatever the customer's finance needs are.
Okay. All right. I think that's.
Any other questions? Going once. All right, well, it's my pleasure to introduce Ken Lorenz from Riva CRM, and we're going to turn it over to him now. Oops, I meant to leave myself. Sorry about this.
No, Melissa, it's okay. No, Melissa,
Okay.
That was me. I took control of the slides.
Oh, okay.
I think I've solved my internet issue. So can you just confirm that you're seeing my title slide?
We do.
Fantastic. Well, listen, thank you very much. I appreciate you asking us to be one of the 2 initial participants in this particular showcase.
Muted. Unmuted.
Thanks, Melissa. So if you want to mute everybody, I can unmute myself. Okay, perfect. So I know I've met a couple of the folks that are on the phone. I'm looking at some of the names. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ken Lorenz. I'm the Director of Sales and Alliances here at Riva CRM Integration. In a nutshell, I look after our channel program. I look after our technology alliances, and I'll talk about those in a second. And I also look after our North American sales team. So I wear a couple different hats here. What I'd like to start is actually talk a little bit about kind of what's happening in the market. And if some of you were at the fall or spring collaborative, I was involved in a couple of sessions that focused on CRM. I know the generally focuses more on ERP and accounting software, but I'm seeing more and more firms starting to pick up CRM in their practice. And so we're kind of beating that drum of helping the ITA understand the value of CRM. So why is CRM such a big deal? Well, you know, if you listen to a lot of the analysts out there, Forrester being one of them, we're in the age of the customer. And I kind of scratch my head at that, right? When have we not been in the age of the customer? So I did a little research, and here's what Forrester says. Back in the 1900s, we were in the age of manufacturing, and then the age of distribution, and the age of information, and so on. Well, that's great, but I think to me, what does it really mean to be in the age of the customer? Being in the age of the customer means the customer has an infinite number of tools available comparatively today to what they had in the past to learn about our products and our services and really do their research on us before we ever really know they're interested in us. And so how do we go about differentiating ourselves from our competition once they make contact with us? Well, CRM is a critical tool in helping us do that, right? It really starts to become the hub of today's business, especially when you consider that we're in a heavy social selling environment, and you know, having CRM and those social collaboration platforms interact with each other become highly important. You know, ultimately, companies are investing in CRM to do one very simple thing, and I'll coin the term, well, I'll use the term here. It's all about connecting the dots. If we do a better job of connecting the dots with our customers than our competition does, generally we're going to win more than our fair share of the business. So that's great. What's the business problem? Well, the business problem with CRM is that it's not the single view of the truth, right? And you ask yourself, well, why, right? If I implement ERP and I tell everybody in the company they've got to use ERP, well, they've got to use ERP, right? It's one of those things. CRM isn't like that, right? I mean, people can choose to have it installed on their machine or access it via the web, but it doesn't mean they've got to go interact with it. And if you look at the why really revolves around a couple of things. One is, frankly, salespeople are the ones that are generally in CRM, and they're lazy. And I hope I didn't offend anybody, but the reality is when a salesperson's worked 10 or 12 hours during the day in customer meetings, the last thing they want to do is sit down for is that we know people live in email, right? They live in their calendar. That's the first application you open in the morning. It's the last thing you look at night before you shut down. And there's a lot of what I would consider to be private conversations, not confidential. I don't mean it that way, but there's conversations I'm having with my customers that don't ever find their way into CRM. And part of the reason is the technology's not been that great. So how does Riva solve this problem? Well, we do two things. One is we make it super easy to combine and synchronize all of that information that you want to synchronize from your calendar and your email platform into your CRM solution. And our customers expect it to be easy and scalable and flexible, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But it's also about connecting those dots and surfacing what we call relationship intelligence. And so let me talk about those two things quickly. Number one, and I apologize for a little bit of an eye chart here, but if you look at what we do from a synchronization standpoint, what we do is we allow synchronization between all the major CRM systems, you know, all the typical ones that are out there, Salesforce, Sugar, SAP, Sage, etc. And we interact and synchronize that with all the popular email systems. So of course, Exchange and Office 365, maybe some logos you don't recognize, Lotus Notes, Gmail, even the old Novell GroupWise, believe it or not. And when you think about synchronizing between those two, we do the basic blocking and tackling. So you would expect to synchronize contacts and calendar items and emails, but we actually take it a step further and start to surface data that lives in CRM and actually expose that from email so that I actually have the opportunity to look at data that's in CRM without logging into CRM. Pretty cool stuff. So the second thing we do, I talked about connecting the dots. We have a product we call Riva Insight, and it's for those folks that want instantaneous gratification on knowledge about their customers. And to kind of illustrate this, I'll show you a couple of screenshots. So this happens to be on top of Lotus Notes, but could be any mail system. Riva Insight is a sidebar that allows me to get information about my customers. So I'm looking at an email from Abe Alexson, and Riva Insight is showing me data that lives in my CRM system. So phone numbers, upcoming meetings, recent meetings we've had, and not just meetings that I've had with Abe, but meetings that anybody in my organization has had with Abe. And so that's great. That's a great starting point. But take it a step further, we're actually looking out to a data service called Inside View to bring us data about this company. And this is coming from a service. So if you're not familiar with Inside View, it's similar to a Dun & Bradstreet or a Hoover's. So it's public data sources where I can learn more about what's going on with this particular account. But let's take it a little step further. So I'm looking at my contacts and I'm highlighting Abe. And again, I'm seeing my upcoming interactions. That's great. But, you know, when I'm talking to Abe, maybe I've got a marketing automation solution that we use. Maybe I use something like Marketo. Wouldn't it be great right here if I could see how Abe has interacted with our website? Well, sure enough, I'm propagating Riva for Marketo sales insights, meaning things that Abe has done on our website right here in the Riva Insight side panel. But let's go even further, right? So I know a number of you probably think about LinkedIn as a tool to understand how people are connected with each other, and that's great. We've got a relationship with a company called TrustSphere, and TrustSphere measures the relationship strength of a relationship based on how often you email with each other and how rapidly you respond to each other. So the example here is I want to get to know Rick Shapiro. Who in my organization is best suited to connect me to Rick Shapiro is what that graphic's really showing me. And a couple other quick examples. We've integrated in things like Matrix Place. So if you've got salespeople or your customers have salespeople that are more route sales or on the road, and they want to see where their customers are located for an entire day, maybe somebody canceled on them, and I want to see, well, who's close to this appointment that I can meet with? This is a great tool for me to do that. And then last but not least, this is a new relationship that we've got with a company called OpenTopic. They have an AI platform called SIA, S-I-A, no relation to the pop star. And what SIA does is analyzes external publicly available data as well as internal data from CRM and email systems to give me things like insights as to what's this customer talking about, right? What are they interested in? What's their sentiment like towards our company? Where is that sentiment geographically coming from? So, you know, we're excited about all of these technologies and helping us connect the dots. And, you know, ultimately, if we can help you sync your email, sync your calendar, get your organization on one page and connect the dots, we know you're going to make customers really happy. So that's a little bit about the company. The last two things that I'll mention, and I think I'm doing pretty good on time here, we do have two different channel programs. We looked very closely at the way that our partners interact with us, and for some of you that carry CRM packages, you may be interested in these programs. First and foremost, we've got an open referral program, and there's no requirements to sign up. There's no fees to pay. If you have customers that you think would benefit from Riva, all you need to do is introduce us to those customers after you sign up as an open referral partner, of course. And if that customer chooses to buy from Riva, then we'll give you 10% of the first year subscription revenue as a referral fee. But we'll take care of the rest. We'll introduce them to Riva. We'll walk through the sales process. We'll make sure it's a good fit for them, and we'll take care of everything. So it's a very simple program, a way you can make a little bit of money by introducing your customers to us when they need it, when they're in need of our technology. We've also got an authorized reseller program. This is more of a traditional VAR program, more of a team sport, as the picture suggests. This is a relationship that's really geared for companies that want to add Riva to their CRM or their collaboration practice, and they want to actively sell and market the solution as part of the model. There's no program fees to get involved in this program. The evaluation system for the margin tiers, we've tried to make very simple. We've modeled it after a kind of an airline's reward program. So what we want to do is we want to incent partners to introduce us and market us, but we don't just measure that success based on the amount of revenue that they drive. We also look at it in terms of the number of net new customers they've added. And so I'll show you our margin structures. We feel like these are pretty reasonable, but we've got a kind of a simple gold, bronze, or silver, bronze, silver, gold program that rewards partners based on how well they do in adding new customers or adding new revenue. So with that, I don't have any other slides. I'm on to questions and answers. Lisa, I think I've left them speechless.
This is Michelle. I do have a question. I just didn't want to jump in if somebody else had one.
Sure.
Okay, so say that we were interested in being a reseller, and we had our own CRM that we use internally, and we wanted to add your product in our own CRM. What's the cost to us of doing that? Is that the same as we would install it in a client system, or is there a discount for partners to add to their own CRMs?
Great question, Michelle. I'm glad you brought it up. I did not point it out on the slides. In our authorized reseller program, we include 10 Riva licenses for you to use for internal production use. If you need more than 10 people in the company using Riva, then we offer additional licenses at a 50% discount.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
yeah, I feel like we always sell better when we also use the product. We understand it, and you know, when we've had hands-on, I know that I can talk about it and sell it better if I'm using it and I like it.
I couldn't agree with you more, and we really encourage all of our partners to use the product. I mean, let's face it, I don't know many people that don't have CRM and don't have email, right? And so if you've got those two things together, why not use Riva, right? It just makes life a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And
thanks,
then
Michelle.
how can we get pricing on the licenses?
Sure, great question. So our pricing model is incredibly transparent, and it's also on our website.
Okay.
So if you go to our website, which is the longest domain in the world, it's rivacrmintegration.com. If you go to our website and go click on products, there are two main products that we have. Our Sync product is exposed both as an on-premise and a cloud version, and there's separate pricing models for each one, but I'll keep it really simple. It's always a subscription model, whether the customer deploys it on-premise or uses it in the cloud, and the prices range from $10 per user per month to $25 per user per month, depending on what kind of functionality they want.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You bet. Thanks for the questions.
Hey, this is Mark. I've got a question as well. Ken, you mentioned the different pricing levels, and is some of that determined by the number of other sources that you're integrating with and pulling into the Riva solution?
So for the Sync product, what most customers do is kind of like a Chinese menu, right? Pick your CRM, pick your email, and then we can, when interesting way. One that I'll mention that kind of, when I heard this story, I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. We've got well, I can't mention who the customer is, but imagine a really big insurance company based out of Switzerland that is running 4 different CRM products. They run Microsoft, they run Salesforce, they run Sugar, and I don't remember what the 4th one was. And then they run Lotus Notes in Europe, and they run Office 365 in the rest of the world. And they actually use our Sync product to harmonize all of that data together between all of those systems. And that's across a couple thousand users within their enterprise.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have one really quick. Hey, Ken, this is Amanda. I've got
Hey, Amanda.
a quick question for you. How are you?
Good.
A quick question on a specific system. I happen to be doing this call in a client's office. They are out for lunch. They are sagecrm.com users. They're very unhappy with the Outlook integration, and I have yet to find them an alternative to what Sage provides them. Do you guys hook into sagecrm.com?
We absolutely do. And what email do they use?
Outlook.
Perfect. Yeah, no, we can absolutely help them. Give me a call when the time is right, and we'd be happy to engage. But yeah, Sage CRM is one of the products that we integrate with.
Excellent. I was already writing you an email, so you're going to get an email when this call's over.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks, Amanda.
Awesome. Any other questions? We really appreciate your time today. And Ken and Stephen, thank you guys both for your presentations. Very insightful. And anybody that's looking for contact information and may or may not have it, feel free to reach out to me as well, Lissa Johnson. And we hope that you can join us for our next webinar in September.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
Everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you.